Hey, Matthew, the average gun owner here. Sorry for the dark, grainy parking lot video, but commuting by bike today. It's a nice warm day. So, been meaning to record this all day. I just wanted to make a quick message on the fact that, as you know, I've been pretty much quiet the last, several months or year, just mostly because I absolutely abhor the fact that the Second Amendment is a political partisan issue. But I think we have an opportunity here. As some of you may remember, there was a time a while back where the House passed concealed carry reciprocity, but it stalled in the Senate. Even though the party that controlled the House also controlled the Senate didn't bring it up. I think we're in a position now with the way the election went where we have a House who could probably easily pass the same concealed carry reciprocity bill, and we have a president who said he's going to sign it. But I think this is where we can all step up to get it done. Now, the issue is that this is a political issue and it really shouldn't be. I mean, it's a constitutional right, shouldn't be a political issue. We can argue over whether we should require permits or whether there should be this requirement or that requirement, but we shouldn't be arguing over the fact that if I want to drive from my house to Florida, I have to get permits in 3 different states. And then there's one state that I drive through where I can't get a permit, can't get reciprocity, and I have to unload my firearm, I guess, in a vehicle, or I got to get out of a car and do it out in the open, which would be another violation, both of safety and the law. But I'm not a big fan of flagging myself in the crotch for the purpose of unloading and locking my firearm up in the trunk for a 12-mile trek through Maryland. And then you head down south, and I still think I can't get a reciprocity or permit in South Carolina. I still think it's on the books. If you're a non-resident, you might not be covered by constitutional carry there. I'm not sure. I'll have to check into that. But recently, the law was that you had to own property to get a permit in that state. And I didn't own property there, so I couldn't get a permit. So when I passed through that state, I would have to put my firearm in the glove box. May have changed with the change in state law there with constitutional carry. But anyway, beside the point, the point is that driving west, going through Illinois or going through Colorado, I'm subject to felony arrest, and it shouldn't be. For those who don't understand how the Constitution works, the Second Amendment is the only right under the Bill of Rights where you would have to get a separate permit in every state if you were to travel. Now, we have a whole thing called interstate commerce in this country. That's the reason why, if you have a driver's license, you can drive your vehicle across the country without an issue. Now, of course, you might get jammed up because your tint's illegal somewhere, or if you're a trucker, you have to get weights and measures or some kind of interstate transport permit from one state or another to transport, certain materials, and you have to fall within certain guidelines for weights and truck axle regulations. But we have that with the Second Amendment. If I travel up to Vermont, I'm restricted to a 10-round magazine. But I'm not talking about that right now. What I'm talking about is the reciprocity. I should be able to buy a SIG 365 with a 10-round magazine, get a permit in my home state, and know that I can travel across the country. I just need to follow the laws as they pertain to whether I can go into a bar in that state or not, or whether I need to inform an officer during an investigative or traffic stop. Those are other issues we can debate down the road, but for now, the bare minimum of reciprocity is a must. So if you're a Democrat or an independent and you live in a jurisdiction where you have a Republican senator or congressperson, please reach out to them. I mean, if they see you're reaching across party lines, which I think for you can see from this administration, with Gabbard and RFK and Elon Musk and others, and Joe Rogan, who was a Bernie supporter just a term ago, and now, he endorsed Trump. But the point is, we had some Republican senators who refused to bring it up for a vote in the Senate when they could have easily passed concealed carry reciprocity. But if they have independents and Democrats knocking on the door and saying, hey, look, I didn't vote for you, but I believe in the Second Amendment and I believe in concealed carry reciprocity, if they get 10, 20 people knocking on the door and asking to have that conversation, they're definitely going to go back and tell their colleagues in the Senate, hey guys, I I got people, reaching out from across the aisle asking me to do this. Obviously they know the people in their own party want it, but if they have people who are registered Democrats or independents coming and asking to talk to them and being polite and saying, hey, look, we may not agree on this or that, but this shouldn't be a political issue and we need to get this passed, I think it could move the ball. And I think this is something that could get done very quickly. Now, I know there's a lot of work that's going to get done at the beginning of this new term, but they did pass concealed carry reciprocity very quickly, relatively, after the 2016 election. And I think it's something we need to focus on here and get done. Again, Matthew, the average gun owner. And, my message here is especially for the independents and Democrats. Reach out to your senator and your representative and ask them to get the ball rolling on this bill again. If you, it's a simple argument. You sit down with them and say, hey, look, I could drive my car across the country without threat of felony arrest. I should be able to exercise my First Amendment right to free speech and my Second Amendment right to protect myself as I'm traveling around the country too. There's no reason why something that's considered a privilege is more protected than an individual constitutional right. Have a good night.